time for it to come in. All right, guys, welcome back to the non-neutral zone. I'm Brandon. I got Josh. How's it going over there on the beach?
Josh and producer Gunner.
Well, we got the palm trees blowing. And producer Gunner.
What's up, guys?
You are joining us live. Actually, it's not live. It's live whenever you're listening to this. But we are non-neutral zone, and we are so excited that you're joining us this week. We're here to talk some football, take your mind off of the social distancing. We are approaching draft, so we've got some news that's leading up to that, and some interesting debate, and maybe a little bit of a poking of the bear of the Houston Texans a little bit later on in the show. So we're going to have some fun, and remember, like us on whatever podcasting app you use. Find us on Twitter at non-neutral-zone, the number 1. And that's all the details. Anything else I need to tell them?
Yeah, pop onto Facebook. We would like to get some community discussion on Facebook. I know we don't have like the biggest audience in the world, but if you guys want to like chat about football, like, you know, maybe cut heads and
cut heads.
You know, argue with us. I think Facebook is a good platform for that. Twitter is cool, but it just seems to be like a free for all. But if we can get us down and get real intimate on Facebook, that would be cool if you pop onto Facebook and give us a like and we can chat with you.
Yes, do it. That's
let's not cut any heads. So I just want to go ahead and throw that in there.
Facebook.com/non-neutral zone.
Yeah, you got to
sure that's against their bylaws.
Okay, I can't remember. Cutting heads.
/ Well, no, the /
Yeah, true. So that's it. We've got a kind of a packed show for you, I think, today, and you should see some new content up on the website as well following the show. So again, we are just kind of learning at this podcast thing as we go. So if you've got feedback for us, if you've got questions for our mailbag that you want answered, anything along the way, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at nonneutralzone@gmail.com and hit us with that feedback or questions or whatever you got. You ready to do this, Josh?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Shall be done. Okay, I could tell he's ready. He looks a little distracted there on the beach. What beach is that, Josh?
Honolulu.
The Honolulu beach. just Honolulu.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, it looks great.
Yeah, it is great. It's a good time.
All right. I'm gonna send it back to you, Gunner.
Well, I just gonna say, like, I don't know if it's true or not, but something tells me that the video is fake. Doesn't look quite right.
What video?
Yeah, that's a good question, Josh. We are recording this because of quarantine and social distancing. We are doing this on Zoom, and you can, if you would like to see our beautiful, gorgeous faces and join us and kind of feel like you're in the room with us. We are posting all these podcasts on YouTube with the Zoom video, and you can join us there. So check us out. Check out Josh on the beach and the rest of us hanging out in our homes.
Just roughing it in our homes.
Yeah. Doing our part by staying indoors. Josh, not very responsible.
No. You see anybody around me on this beach?
Hey, it looks like you snuck up to a private beach.
I'm solo.
Yeah, so you can do that and give us some feedback on that and tell us if you like it. And, personally, I like just listening to podcasts on YouTube because I just pull it up on the browser. I don't have to deal with any apps or anything and searching, and it's right there on YouTube. So it's a good option. So if you like it, pop on there. Doing it Joe Rogan style.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Hey, Joe Rogan.
Before we start the news, anything you guys want to mention? Anything going on in the world in your life that you want to drop and let the audience know about?
I'll say two things. One, we have a short show spectacular that we do every week, and I'm still trying to win my first fan poll for the short show spectacular. So I would ask for your pity vote this week and every week moving forward, so that I might achieve victory in that short show spectacular vote that has eluded me all season.
Generally, I wouldn't allow somebody to come on and beg for votes like that, but I feel bad for you too, Brandon.
Yes,
so,
I don't. I feel so little pity that I voted for Gunner.
So, but to be fair, Brandon, you had 2 ties, right?
I have had 2 ties, and
and
just can't
Josh,
get pushed over the edge. Yeah.
Josh, have you had any ties yet?
Not any ties, but I've had a couple victories.
You've had 2 like straight out wins, so you're not that far behind, Brandon.
The only one that hasn't won a short show spectacular.
You haven't won, but you've had 2 ties.
Thanks for that positive poly.
That's right. Lean in.
So
the other thing I'd like to mention is that if this is your first time listening, I'd encourage you to go back and listen 1 or 2 episodes, and just so you can kind of get to know the characters, and you can get to know us and how responsible our information that we're giving you is, and just who to listen to, and like which zone you fall into, because you don't want to fall into the neutral zone. So you got to figure out if you're going to fall on the right side or the wrong side of these arguments and debates and these things that we throw out. So I would just encourage you to go back and listen to an episode or 2.
Yeah, after you finish this complete episode.
For sure.
Because the newest episode is the most up-to-date, because we do current and topical news and everything. So, Josh, anything you want to mention going on in your life? Or perhaps, I know you're throwing up a lot of great content on the website.
Well, I mean, I put some time into that, and then we're doing some upgrades here around the house so that when this pandemic, when it's over, you guys can come over, splash around in the pool, hang out in the den.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So we had a contractor over yesterday morning, and we're getting some stuff going with that. So that's pretty much it, other than the hard work that I'm putting in here for the non-neutral zone.
You're building us the studio, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
I am. I looked at an air hockey table too while I was at Family Leisure.
Nice.
As long
as I get a lava lamp on my table, my desk, I'm golden.
Bring it, dog.
Okay. All right. So with that said, we're gonna jump into the news.
That just happened.
Right. That did just happen. Oh man, we have some sad news coming in. This is just heartbreaking, guys. I can't believe it. The XFL shut their doors this week. They have suspended operations and laid off all employees. They are not anticipating a 2021 season.
It's a tough break. We knew that it was a possibility though when this pandemic started, because it's hard as a startup business to have any kind of
Traction.
backwards motion, anything that sets you back. If you have a setback, like it's brutal, and it was more than they could handle. But it seems like a lot of the people, because they were doing good work over there, they've kind of got a foot in other businesses now, the NFL or whatever it may be, where they've got they got some stuff on their resume now, that all important work experience that everybody wants you to have that you can't get until you have it. So
I was on the ground floor of a football league that didn't make it past its first season.
Yeah.
Put that on your CV.
Did they
right.
why'd they have to make a decision now? I mean, I feel like there's financial ramifications where if they now say, well, we're done or we're folding because of the pandemic, there's some sort of, that's similar to Wimbledon, like they can get an insurance policy, or they kind of get out of paying some vendors, or like, why do they have to make the decision that they're not going to move on now?
Well, I think there are a lot of people within that they're paying right now, and maybe they can't afford to pay them. I mean, that's got to be the only thing that it is. So it's their only option, is to say, look, we're shutting the doors. We got to lay everybody off.
Man, it's so
and
sad.
they've not completely canned it, for 2021, but it's not looking likely. It's a big financial blow. But I'm sure, I'm pretty sure Big Daddy Trump, he's got a good relationship with Vince, and so maybe there's some help coming for Vince.
Pals, I believe that Linda McMahon is in the cabinet or does something, right?
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
I think so. Maybe she might just be like a congressperson, but I thought she was doing some type of cabinet position for Trump.
That's cool. I mean, I don't feel bad for Vince McMahon. They'll get it worked out, and hopefully they'll get it worked out where he can bring the product back, because I felt like they were on a good track for success.
Yeah. She's the administrator, small business administration.
Yeah. So he does have a foot in with the Trump administration, but and you're right. I don't feel bad for Vince McMahon at all, but I do feel bad because he doesn't have the best reputation for paying his employees like high rates.
Right.
So I feel bad for the people who lost their jobs and probably weren't getting paid a lot to begin with. So, but Brandon, I think you're onto something when you're talking about the insurance earlier. Did you hear about the WrestleMania?
No. What do you?
The reason why he wouldn't cancel it straight out, because if he canceled it and Tampa didn't cancel it for him, he wouldn't get an insurance payout. So he was holding out,
hoping that they would can him. That makes sense.
Yeah, and he would get an insurance payout.
And Tampa wouldn't cancel it.
Yep. So I feel like there might be something, underneath all this. Why this decision came out the way it did. That something like that may be going on. He's a very smart guy, and he knows how to make a buck. Squeeze every dollar.
I agree. Out of it, so. What's sad all around?
Yeah, it is sad, but here's the hoping. All right, moving on. NFL.com reports that the Washington Redskins were in on the Amari Cooper bidding until the end. Do you guys know about this?
I heard.
That was the first that I'd heard about it, and when it went into the show doc. It's not surprising. They need weapons, and
they should look within the division, because then it could technically hurt the other team, and at the very least, it damages the Cowboys' cap space moving forward. So even if they don't get him, that they've driven the price up for a player on the other team.
So it does too. Like it makes Rex Ryan look even more foolish with his turd remark, because it turns out that the Cowboys were not just paying him for nothing. There was an actual bidding war that was taking place, and
which that makes sense on why he was paid so much. Because at first glance, you're like, that's weird.
It's a lot of money, and the thing is too, like it's easy to Amari Cooper has been a disappearing act, but when you look at it, his numbers last year. Before the injury, he was every game. He was consistent. It was after the injury when he struggled with some inconsistencies. So I'll be interested to see what happens this year. Like maybe he does come through with a full season.
Yeah, well, there's no question that they've been a better offense since they added Amari Cooper. Much better. So it's not just about Amari Cooper, but what it does for Dak Prescott, the way it opens up things for
the other
Zeke.
Receivers, the running backs.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't have hated it. I mean, I would have liked it as a signing for the Redskins if they had signed him. It wouldn't have been a bad deal. They need a lot more help than that, but good. Like it makes sense that they would be involved.
Yeah, it depends on what they were going to pay him, and I don't know what their salary cap situation looks like. But they don't even their left tackle's not even looking to come back, so they really need to be building from the ground up. That's more of an auxiliary piece, and they've got a young wide receiver in McLaurin. He's on a cheaper
good
deal,
contract.
So, yeah. So for me, I'd rather see him spend the money in the trenches on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. So,
yeah, I agree.
Brandin Cooks was traded to the Houston Texans along with a 4th-round pick in exchange for a 2nd-round pick. It's interesting to note that this is the 3rd time Cooks has been traded since entering the league in 2014, and he's only 26 years old. I say only, but
that's that's young to be
he's
traded.
He's entering his prime, yeah,
and so he's been traded for 2 first-round picks, a 2nd-round pick, and he was selected in the first by the Saints, right?
I don't know. I don't know where he was.
I could be wrong on that. I feel like that's what I read. It's been a while, since he was.
He's
three trades ago. So.
He's thought high of. I mean, the Patriots traded a 1st-round pick, then the Rams traded a 1st-round pick, and now the Texans parted with a 2nd-round pick. Do you like it for the Rams? Do you like what they got back for it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're trading with the Texans, you're coming out good.
I mean, that seems to be a pretty standard.
I saw one post. I was on Twitter. I was doing some work for us here at Non-Neutral Zone, and I saw a post from an executive in the NFL saying that, team executives, front office guys, they smell blood in the water with the Houston Texans. Like,
hey, what's up, Bill?
Yeah, like they see these bad decisions going down, and they're just like, let's get it in while we can before Bill moves on. Everybody's looking for a trade from.
How would you grade the trade for the Texans? I mean, I don't like they
it's
needed
not terrible for the Texans.
Right. If he can stay healthy.
It's the
necessary.
fall through from everything, So like they did this trade because they had to do this trade after they traded DeAndre Hopkins. So they painted. They don't have a 1st or 2nd-round pick this year, right?
Well, let's talk. So the DeAndre deal that's still not been finalized. So
yeah.
So is there any way for you saw that, like, I don't know, they're waiting on completed physicals, right?
Yeah, that was on down in the news.
I know, but
yeah.
like it applies here. But they're waiting on physicals to be passed for the DeAndre deal, and this is just fallout from that because they got Cooks. I mean, is there any scenario where they can fail David Johnson's physical and they can undo the bad that they've done, realize the errors of their way?
So I think
Wouldn't
that
be wild?
is. So we saw that happen with what's his name, Ryan Grant. Ryan Grant, when he signed a mega deal with the Baltimore Ravens during the offseason. It's either last year, year before last. And everybody just kind of like raised their eyebrows, like, what's going on? Why are they paying Ryan Grant that much money? Well, the way out of it was, he failed his physical. But now you've got two sides. So maybe if the Texans tried to go that route and say, he didn't pass his physical, then Arizona comes back, well, we just had him, do a physical with our doctor, and they said it's fine. There's going to be too much pushback. I don't think it ever happens.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they would be able to get out of it. But I think you're right in that it's fallout from it. It could turn out to be like a good positive trade because Cooks is still young. He could get this concussion thing under control. He's a deep threat. They've got a lot of potential in that receiver room. I mean, Will Fuller went healthy. Kenny Stills went healthy. Brandin Cooks went healthy. Like they could
They
do
got a lot of
something.
speed, but they don't have an alpha. They don't have DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't have DeAndre. Man.
You can't replace him. And I think to trade that, I think they could have got maybe a bit more complete receiver in the second round of this year's draft.
On a much less expensive deal.
Yeah.
Josh, you were right. It was the Saints.
Mm-hmm. First round?
Yep.
Yeah.
As far as I could tell. Okay, Todd Gurley takes Twitter to tell Rams that they are past due and to send me money. Gurley had a fully guaranteed $7.55 million roster bonus from the Rams due on the third day of the league year.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
He's taking a Trump approach.
Yeah.
Just tweet him.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought that, if me or you, we go to work and we do our job and we don't get our money, we're going to call our boss out on it. And it's not going to mean as much if we do it on Twitter. As Todd Gurley's a little bit, he's got a little more weight to that. But then you saw Clay Matthews responding, saying, me too. They haven't paid me either. We're going to start rolling interest. So it's so weird. The Rams have got that problem right now. You think it's the money in the stadium? Do you think that's what it is? Or
I think that the billionaire owners have enough money to pay their players, but I think it's millionaire drama. Yeah,
it was a problem. It was actually a problem last year though with the Raiders owner.
That they have enough money in cash to give the guaranteed money.
When you do those contracts, you have to have that money in accounts, and it's so weird that they're not paying them because that money has to be there for the league to approve a deal.
Well, that's why I think it's just them being petty because you saw where Todd Gurley posted earlier.
But what did Clay Matthews do?
Well, I mean, he left the team. I don't know. Like once you're gone, well, F you, you're done. But Gurley posted the pic or the video or the pic on Instagram of, hey, Rams, thanks for the check while he's wearing his Falcons stuff. So just poking at him. I think it's just them being petty. I don't think it's any issue of them not being able to pay. I think if they were to take it to court and force payment, I don't think the Rams would have any trouble coming up with that money. It makes for funny drama, though.
Yeah, it's just so weird. Like, why make after that logo? Why give yourself a black eye?
It does make me wonder just how liquid a lot of these teams are. Because like right now we're finding out that a lot of businesses don't have hardly any liquid assets at all, and the NFL is a nonprofit technically.
Yeah,
and I'm surprised they don't have as many liquid assets. And it makes me wonder if that's the issue. Like you said, they have to prove that they have liquidity before they approve the. But if that was just suddenly spent right after the proof, I don't know. It just makes me wonder.
Yeah, it's a good question.
What's going on behind the scenes? All right, fullback Roosevelt Nix signed with the Indianapolis Colts.
So, like Roosevelt Nix himself is not going to be like a huge household name. He's not going to be even after this year. But I think what it signifies is a change in offensive plan because I don't believe that we've ran a fullback and sometimes it doesn't work out. So I wonder how it makes me wonder about Marlon Mack, how that's going to affect him. And maybe they just want that big body on short to go situations, somebody to just plunge into the middle of the line. I don't know, but he's one of the best fullbacks in the league. So
where did he play last year?
The Steelers, right?
I literally have no idea.
I believe he was with the Steelers last year.
So that's what it seemed to indicate to me, because I don't know if they carried a fullback last season, right?
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
Frank Reich has a history of being sort of creative with offenses. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, if he came from Philly and they, did the whole Philly special and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of a creative playbook, and maybe they're, I don't know, I mean, looking for ways to get creative with the fullback. The fullback's coming back. It's an in thing now.
Yeah.
Interesting signing. He did play for the Steelers. That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was pretty good with them, and I think he's 27 or 28 years old, so he's not super old. And fullbacks can play a lot longer than halfbacks,
right.
So
they're not getting hit nearly as much.
No.
They're
the enforcer. They're the hitter.
Yeah.
DeAndre Washington is signing a 1-year deal with the Chiefs.
You like he?
I like it.
He fits, man. He fits that Darrell Williams
I don't have
role.
the numbers in front of me, but I want to say he averaged like 110 or 113 yards in the games that he started for the Raiders last year.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he was the dude, Josh Jacobs was just out, I don't remember, a couple weeks, it seems like. But I think it's great. It's all about who catches the ire of Big Andy Reid. Like if he can get play in that offense, I think he fits. He catches the ball.
He's dynamic. I mean, he's a good player, and so he's a good player. And in the Chiefs' offense, we've seen it even with Damian Williams, where like a lesser player, a player that's not as good, can be good. So a good player could theoretically be great. So I'd like to see what DeAndre Washington could do as a full-time player there.
Yes, it's weird. I mean, so they still have Damian Williams under contract. Do they still have Darrell Williams?
I'm not sure if he's under contract. I didn't see that they cut him or anything.
McCoy, I don't think is on the roster. I think that was a 1-year deal, so they haven't re-signed him. So it's a crowded room. I just wonder what, and we guess that they're going to draft a running back.
Do you remember the rookie last year? What his name was? Who's kind of smaller?
Oh, that's Darwin Thompson.
Darwin Thompson, yeah. But he's not a complete back. He's small, so he's gonna have a role. But
it's just a crowded room. I wonder what they're going to do with that position. But I like DeAndre Washington. I liked him whenever when he got playing time with Oakland. So if he gets playing time with Kansas City, I would love to have him on my fantasy team.
Yeah. We'll see what happens at the NFL draft. If they draft a back, it'll make a difference. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if it's just him and the guys that are there, he'll be worth a late-round flyer for sure.
Yeah.
Something to look out for. Okay, Atlanta Falcons general manager Thomas Dimiltroff is on record as being very comfortable with the status of Todd Gurley's knee, though he hasn't had his official physical for the team yet.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with the Arizona Cardinals, Houston Texans trade, where teams are just having trouble with the face-to-face, getting the physical done, with the way, the current climate is with coronavirus. So if they're comfortable with him, it's going to be fine,
Yeah, I can imagine that they would, if something was amiss or not kosher, they would know at this point. That's weird though, because my understanding is he's already near Atlanta and starting. He's training on this side of the country. I don't know why he couldn't get in front of team doctors.
Well, I think it's probably regulations by the league right now telling them that they can't be in house. Yeah. And all that. So I mean, I'm sure he could get an independent doctor, but that's not going to. He probably already has, honestly, and that's why they're comfortable with it. But
I think you and I will agree that he's comfortable with Todd Gurley's knee because they recognize probably how to use Todd Gurley in a more effective way and to get him the ball in space. Like we talked about that off air, that the Rams they just wanted to run Gurley up the middle, but he didn't have enough catches. And
which
so
was
I think
so weird because they were talking, like they were.
He's electric in space, and so they wouldn't get him the ball on the outside to to use that ability.
Well, I mean, his receptions went through the floor, and they were talking about. I mean, you're going to take a beating in between the tackles. I don't understand like if they're trying to preserve him.
Why just
get him catches?
Him? Yeah.
Like,
so I think they should be a little bit more smart about how they're going to use him.
So funny, year before last we were talking about how Sean McVay is a genius, and then this year we're looking around like, what an idiot! Why is he not throwing the ball to Todd Gurley?
It is like, how the turntables have turned.
Yeah, he got a lot of people paid though. Got him some jobs and coaching and all that. So it's weird.
By the way, Brandon, is that a LaCroix? How do you say that you're drinking?
Yeah, it's an off-brand. It's a Kroger brand, seltzer water. LaCroix is the name brand. Yeah, it's a fancy brand.
I don't know why or how that blew up.
I'm not uppity enough to afford the LaCroix, so I can get.
Okay, sorry to derail, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Not a paid sponsor.
It's so weird that seltzer water blew up in the past couple of years the way it did.
Yeah.
Unexpected. It was the last thing I expected to take off. All right, moving on. Brandon Ayuk underwent core muscle surgery last Tuesday.
I mean,
that's a big deal because Brandon Ayuk he's a good player. He's really good, and if that makes him slide at all, which I don't know that it will, but if it does, somebody's going to get a steal.
Yeah, he was projected as I don't know if he was in the top 5 wide receivers, was he?
I can't.
He was up there. He was in that second tier, but after
I don't think he was in top 5. He was probably in the top 10, but
he was in that second tier behind the main. Yeah, but he was projected in probably upper to mid second round, if not the end of the first round. And now I think
a lot of people had him in the first round. I see. He's the guy. He's got a lot of Percy Harvin to his game, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the comparison that we've heard on him.
Yeah, so
I agree with you. And like these reports could be, and it's interesting how these reports leak out. Especially now that we're doing virtual pro days, and does a team that really wants him leak out the report so that it'll cause him to slide to a team that maybe he wasn't going to make it to? Because you see the reports where people were leaking medical information on Tua, trying to get him to drop.
I've not seen any negative reports on Tua. I've seen all positive.
Yeah, so I don't remember. We've read, just been reading and researching, but there was somewhere where teams were leaking negative medical information onto to try to get him to drop in the draft, and it's just interesting the politics that goes into it. Because it's a dirty pool. It is, man. You want to muck it up so that they can. Maybe they slow. They
knock everything off the rails.
If you're sitting there, you're sitting there 10 picks below their projection. Like instead of having to use next year's draft equity to move up, you can just contaminate them. I like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They didn't have some integrity.
No.
I got some integrity. Nobody watched South Park?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. AJ Green is fully healthy and working hard, according to head coach Zach Taylor.
Yes.
I hope so, man. I hope he's in good shape.
He didn't get hit at all last year, so he ought to be fresh. He probably could have played the back half of the season, and he ended up resting to finish. So I hope he comes out with a vengeance and has a great season because he's a good dude.
He's good, and he's always been talented. So it'll be fun to see if he can manage to stay on the field. It'll be awesome. He'll be a steal in fantasy drafts too if that happens.
Correct, and because you drafted him this past season in the sixth round.
Sixth round, on the turn. So right at the seventh,
but you had to sit on him all year. It just sucked because you couldn't.
Yeah, I was able to slide in that IR spot though. It was okay.
Yeah, you did okay, but it also like make Joe Burrow's rookie season a lot better.
Heck yeah,
if he had a healthy AJ Green. So
yeah,
hopefully, I hope that he does.
Me too.
Do you guys watch Hard Knocks on HBO?
I do like to watch.
I've heard of it.
Okay, well, they announced the new team for the show, and this year for the first time there are 2 teams: the Chargers and the Rams.
Why do you think they went with those 2 teams?
It's easier shooting schedule.
Geography.
Yeah. So that I've actually heard speculation that due to the virus, it'll be easier, everybody being local to record and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because they're probably out of
yeah.
there. It's been a hit when it's been on, and so if they can give us an inside look to two different teams, it's a lot of fun.
So I listened to the Around the NFL podcast, and one of the guys on there, one of the personalities, he writes about the Hard Knocks series when it comes on every year, and he was saying that he's afraid this is going to feel like a retread because they just did the Rams 4 years ago, whatever it was, and so they apparently a lot of people that really follow the show, like I watch it, but a lot of people really get into it, and they want to see them get rid of the program that picks the teams, like according to whatever, where they're the options and where any team can do it, because a lot of the teams don't want to do it that are the possibilities. So
yeah. So they did it. The Rams did it 4 years ago. Was that when Jeff Fisher was the coach, or was McVay there?
Yeah, Jeff Fisher was there.
So I'm sure it's completely different. That's actually kind of a cool inside look between two different organizations.
So you had the famous Jeff Fisher speech. I'm not going 7-9. I'm not going 8-8. We're going to the Super Bowl. Classic Jeff Fisher. He's going 7-9, or he's going 8-8.
So is there a particular player on either of those teams that you or like a storyline that you think it will be interesting to watch unfold on TV?
The quarterback situation for the Chargers,
especially if they sign Cam.
Yeah, and then Joey Bosa. I want to see
the Bosa.
I want to see a little bit of him, because what's his personality like? I don't know.
If it's anything like his brother Nick in San Francisco, I think they got big personalities.
Yeah, they're supercharged. So
let's see what kind of romances or love triangles spark up in the show.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I'm excited about.
Oh man. Boy howdy. All right, so that does it for the news. We are moving on. Unless you guys have anything else you want to say real quick, going once, going twice. We are done with the news. Let's move on. We're going to introduce a new segment this week.
Free ballin'.
That's right. It is free ballin'. I love the way he says free ballin'. Free ballin'.
Makes me think about Tom Petty.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
And listener, if you don't get that reference, I'm sorry about you.
Just give up. I'm kidding. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
You can always do better.
Keep trucking. Yeah. Just go pick up a copy of Dan the Torpedoes by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. All right. So for free ball, we're going to discuss our favorite player from each division. We'll go out to each division in the NFL. And each of us will pick our favorite. I'm excluded, but we'll pick our favorite player in that division. Our selections do not have to be mutually exclusive, so you guys can pick the same guy if you want.
Oh, okay. I suspect that has the potential to happen, but not likely.
So I would like to throw in too that we're gonna post these on the website as well. We're going to have an article for each of our selections, kind of breaking it down a little bit more in depth. We don't want to bog you down too much here on the podcast. We know everybody likes to get their listen and move on. So if you want a little more, you can go to the website and check that out. It'll be dropping shortly after the episode drops. So
right. So if you listen to this, you can probably check out that article and leave a comment on the site if you want. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep. Yeah, I also want to clarify that these are players in each division. We're talking fantasy players.
Yeah, I thought about that as well. I didn't know if I should.
Just our favorite values is a good way to look at this. So clearly, my favorite fantasy player in all of fantasy should be Christian McCaffrey if I've got the 101. But we're weighing value in these, so it might not be the obvious pick. Just want to clarify that so someone's not like, why is he picking that rando dude?
Right on. So you guys ready to kick it off?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
kick off free balling for AFC North. Josh.
Yeah. For me, I've got Mark Ingram. He was the 8th best running back last year, and I think that kind of flies under the radar. He averaged 5 yards a carry and 9.5 per reception. So those numbers are very achievable. And with only 10 rushing touchdowns, I think that's about where he'll be. When you consider that he's got he's got Lamar Jackson there playing quarterback, so he's going to keep those running lanes open. Defenses have to pay attention to him, and when he threatens with getting out of the pocket with that option play, that defender's going to bite. And when he does, if he gets that over the top of him to Mark Ingram, it's green grass. So that's where those big plays come in. The big plays are just money in fantasy football. If you can get them, you're going to win a lot of weeks. So,
right on. Brandon for AFC North.
Yeah, I just kind of piggyback on what Josh said. That'll be interesting to see if teams can do anything to stop Lamar, like stop that option thing. That's one of the storylines that's going to be fun moving into next season. I like your pick, Josh. I've got, for me in the AFC North, I've got Kareem Hunt on the Cleveland Browns. I love his value. In the back half of the season where he played, he was running back 25, but he only had 74 touches. So Josh, I love efficiency. So not a lot of touches on the back half. I think like you have a full season to get him into the mix.
What week did you say he was? I'm sorry. What week did you say he came back?
He came back around week 10, I think.
75 is fine. I mean,
yeah. Compared to everyone else. So
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but so he only finishes run back 25, but you're going to see him integrated more into the offense with a full off season. And I love the pass catching running backs, and he had 44 receptions on onto the season for him, which was the back half. And so I think you can expect that to double. And I'm thinking that he's going to get to 90 targets, not 90 receptions, 90 targets. Yeah. So obviously he's not going to catch all those, but even if he gets up over 60, 70 receptions, it's going to keep him in a safe.
If he gets
safe
60
place.
receptions, he'll be great. He'll be fine, especially where you draft him.
His current ADP is in the 6th round. I think it's good value if you get him there.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he's probably, honestly, he's a bell cow on a different team. And we saw what happened when he came into Nick Chubb's numbers. So it's going to be a pretty good split, and you're going to see some people get a value on Kareem Hunt and some people overpay for Nick Chubb. So
yeah, I don't like Nick Chubb at his current draft's value.
Was he back half of the first?
Yeah, or early second, but I love Kareem Hunt later on. Kareem Hunt also only had 3 touchdowns, which completely skews his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to AFC South. Josh?
Yeah, so I struggled a lot with the AFC South because, a lot of talent has been taken out of that conference in the last 2 years between Andrew Luck and now DeAndre Hopkins. And, when a couple of those pieces move around, it affects how you feel about other players. And so I struggled with it, but what I ended up landing on was DJ Chark. He finished as the wide receiver 14 last year as a sophomore with a rookie quarterback. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
It's clear, that Chark and Minshew have some chemistry together, but Chark only had 113 receptions and 113 targets. I misspoke. He had 113 targets and finished as the wide receiver 14. So if he could get that into the 130s, which I think is completely possible with a season completely void of Nick Foles, he should be good to go to get into that, especially with another year of development for him and Gardner Minshew. So, and then you add in Jay Gruden. That's pretty exciting.
Only help,
and Jay Gruden actually expressed some optimism and some excitement to be working with DJ Chark. So
we should have some excitement to be working with Gardner Minshew too. And if he gets the eye, they're going to sling the ball. They're going to throw the ball.
Yeah, they should. And if they do, Chark's going to be a monster. He's going to be a value. So I'm not sure where he's going right now, but it's not high enough. I'll guarantee it.
So Brandon, for your AFC South pick.
For me, Josh, you know who the number 1 receiver in fantasy was last season?
Yeah, Michael Thomas.
Yes. So from the last 5 weeks of the season, from week 12 to 16, you know who the number 1 receiver was? It was Michael Thomas. But you know who the number 2 receiver was? A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah.
A.J. Brown. So when you look at his numbers, once he started getting involved in the offense, man, he that's my guy from the AFC South. I'm also a Titans fan, so I enjoy picking a guy that I can pull for in real life too. But he was only receiver in the entire – so on the season, he was wide receiver 21. Obviously, he did better in the back half as he started to get more integrated and involved. But he was only receiver in the top 34 that had less than 80 targets. So for the first part of the season, he wasn't getting targeted. So when they started finally paying attention to him, I mean, his numbers went through the roof. And when he has the ball in his hands, if you just watch the film, I mean, he's electric with the ball in his hands. So his yards after catch were stupid. And so with some stability at the quarterback position, like having Tannehill, I love A.J. Brown. I think that he has the potential to finish as a wide receiver 1, and he's being drafted in late wide receiver 25.
Yeah, so my only problem with A.J. Brown is just that, like you said, his after-the-catch numbers are crazy, and that's a hard metric to repeat on. And, I mean, he may do it. He was my favorite wide receiver coming into the NFL before he landed with the Titans. I hated the landing spot, and I'm still not real keen on it. I hope that Tannehill can do what he did last year, but we don't have a big enough sample size to lean on it. And people are in love with A.J. Brown, so you're going to see his ADP continue to rise through the offseason.
Well, especially we play in a league that is in Tennessee, so I imagine that it will be difficult for me to get him on my team.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get him at value with the, I guess you'd say, instability. You know, like you don't have the previous data to go off of, and I think he's a monster. So if he does it, I won't be surprised. But there's a lot of risk.
Yeah.
AFC East, Josh.
Brandon's going to like this. I imagine from our previous conversation. I'm going to go with
exactly where you're going then.
I'm going to go with Mike Gesicki.
Gesicki.
Yeah, Gesicki's a monster, man. Like I dug in because last show I had a weak show. I didn't bring my A game, but so I went back. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. He's going to be used in the slot more. They started doing it in the back half of last year, and it showed in the stat sheet. He's 6'6". He's 247. He ran a 4.54 40-yard dash. That puts him at the 96th percentile among tight ends on the 40-yard dash. His catch radius is in the 100th percentile. Agility, 99th. And his birth score is 99th percentile among tight ends. He is a monster. And from weeks 8 to 16, he was tight end 7 when they started sliding him into the slot. So, you know, I mean, if he can get that snap share up where it was at the end of the year, he went from 30% in the first half of the year to the 80s and 90s. You know, so he had that uptick in production, and he honored it with an uptick in production. So
I can imagine being that size, that strong.
Oh, I know.
I want to circle back.
Like a superhero.
What is a birth score, Josh?
Birth score? It's just a metric kept up with for draft analysts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm green.
Yeah. Check out playerprofiler.com. That's where I pulled those numbers from. Roto Underworld is a podcast. He's one of the best in the dynasty industry. So you can check that out if you're more interested in those statistics.
Interesting.
All right, Brandon, your pick for
well, just as Josh knew I was going to love his pick, I know he's going to love this pick in the AFC East. I love me some Julian Edelman. So we can't really use last year as a metric because they're going to be in a completely different situation. But according to Josh, he's going to get an upgrade at quarterback because he's not going to play with just a dinker and dunker anymore. He's going to play with a real quarterback. So it should help his numbers. But in all seriousness, we can't really use last year's numbers necessarily. He was wide receiver 7. But what we know about Julian Edelman is that he has a track record of production. And he doesn't have to perform to wide receiver 7 numbers to outperform his ADP. So his ADP is in the 30s. So he all he has to be is a wide receiver 2. And you know that the Patriots aren't going to stop dinking and dunking, and they're going to be playing from behind a lot because they'll be tanking. So I love Julian Edelman to get a lot of catches, to rack up some garbage fantasy points. And that's why I've chosen Julian Edelman, because I love his value, where you're going to get him at.
So I do agree, like, as far as getting an upgraded quarterback, but that's why I think that's probably a detriment to Edelman because maybe they do want to put the ball down the field a little bit more, and that's not Edelman's game. He's a crossing route guy. He's an out route guy. He's close to the line of scrimmage. So, and that has kept his floor safe because receptions for days, he would catch receptions every single game, a ton of them. So I'll be interested to see like what does happen with the quarterback situation if they draft a guy. If they end up taking Jordan Love's going to throw the ball down the field, and that'll be big for a couple of those other receivers. But
that rookie quarterback loves that security blanket, and that's what Edelman's going to be. But I love the value of it. I think that I mean. He's just produced, man. He's just consistently, quietly produced. He doesn't get noticed. You don't like him because he's white, man. Just admit it.
He's produced with one quarterback.
Okay, let's wrap up AFC with the West. Josh, your pick.
It's easy. Tyreek Hill for me. Not a lot of research needed to be done on Tyreek Hill. He finished as the wide receiver 29 in just 11 games. After he had that clavicle injury. But when he returned, he was wide receiver 5 over the rest of the season. Kansas City's offense speaks for itself, but just for some numbers, they rank top 5 in points for, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and second in net gain yards per pass attempt. So, and there's really no reason for the Chiefs to change anything that they've done because they just won a Super Bowl. So, and a big reason that they won it was one play by one man, Tyreek Hill. So
he finished the season when he came back. He finished as wide receiver 5.
Yeah, when he came back from injury, he finished as wide receiver 5.
Right. So to meet his value, I mean, he's like, you think he has to outperform?
Well, he was wide receiver 1 the season before, and then he was wide receiver 5 over the back half of last year. So I mean, you're getting almost a guaranteed top 5 wide receiver. I don't know how much more you want.
Yeah, I mean, I love him. I think that, as you know, like my love for Tyreek is growing, and I think that he's worthy of a first round pick, because you know what you're going to get. Like I just think that other receivers like DeAndre Hopkins or other receivers may have more question marks because you don't know the system is, or like how they're going to fit into this, all those things. But Tyreek Hill, like they're going to Mahomes is going to pepper him with targets, and sometimes those targets are going to be 73 yards down the field.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to keep him safe, and that's what – I mean, he could easily finish as the wide receiver 1 this year. We saw it 2 years ago. So
it wouldn't surprise me. For me in the AFC West, I've got your guy. You love him, Darren Waller, the baller. So it would be easy to say, man, he underperformed this year because he started out hot and then he faded off. But he was – one of only 3 tight ends with less than 4 touchdowns, 3 tight ends that were in the top 15 that were less than 4 touchdowns because he got vultured on his touchdown. If his touchdown count went up 2, if he had what was reasonable would be 5 touchdowns, he would have been tight end 2 on the season. And it doesn't seem as crazy. So even as you question his production, I mean, he gets the targets. Like he continues to develop with Jason Witten coming into town. Jason Witten's not going to steal his snaps. He's not the athlete that Waller is. He's not the guy. But he's going to be able to mentor and help develop Waller because he's clearly a focal point of the offense. And I mean, I think you can expect his touchdown count to rise, and it's going to make him a safe tight end 5. I mean, inside the top 5.
So does it change your opinion if the Raiders draft CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy?
Not necessarily. In fact, it could help because it opens that seam route up a little bit. But they need a guy on the outside, and I don't think those targets necessarily have to come from Waller. I mean, he was the biggest target there, like literally by girth, the biggest target there last year because, I mean, they didn't have an alpha, and he was kind of basically that guy. So I think that it could help him if they had a wide receiver that required a little bit more attention.
So we saw it, though, when the kid from Clemson – came back from injury where Waller saw a significant dip in his production. And so Renfro, yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, if they bring in an alpha and Renfro's getting his, if Waller doesn't get that high target level, he's not going to pay back dividends on his ADP. I don't know where he's being drafted, but I think people that had him last year, like yourself, they have a higher opinion of him.
I typically have to take a deeper dive on tight ends unless I'm in a league where I draft 2 tight ends in the top 3 rounds and hate my life for the entire season. but usually I have to wait for a tight end. So I don't anticipate being able to get Darren Waller in my leagues because I think his ADP it'll just be higher than I want to pay. But I think that someone that gets him there will get a value. It probably isn't on my team, but I still love him as a player.
So you think they're going to get a return on it? You think that it's going to be worth that? Where is he? Do you know where he is ADP wise or no?
I don't have it right up.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if he goes in the 5th round, he's going to be right after Zach Ertz and those guys. And I just think that's too high, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's currently going in the 6th round is where his ADP is.
Move on to NFC. We're going to flip-flop. Brandon, you go first. So for North, who's your pick?
All right, we're headed north to the NFC. I've got Mr. Aaron Jones. You know who the running back 2 was last season, Josh?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Was
You guys hear that thunder? Yeah.
Wow.
Is it thunder where you are, Josh?
No.
Man, that was loud. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty loud.
Wait, I just heard it.
Aaron Jones was running back 2. So we can compare him to this year, but we know he doesn't have to duplicate running back 2 numbers to get value back. So I believe that he's going to regress in his touchdown. He doesn't have to score 19 touchdowns.
But good thing because he's not going to.
He's currently being drafted as running back 7 or 8. So in the bottom half of the 10. So the middle of the 2nd round. Who
is around him there? Who's at 5 and 6?
At 5 and 6 on the
ADP.
On ADP. And you're making me do all the work. He's going after guys like Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. He's going after those guys. So if you want a guy who's steady, who's a dude who's in an offense that's going to feature him, I love Aaron Jones in the offense. And I just think that we saw him perform as a running back 2 this year, and his snap count doesn't have to be out of this world in order to meet that. So I like him. So you can leave him if you want to, Josh, but I'm taking him.
Yeah, I mean, so back into the 2nd round, he's probably worth it, but if his touches don't go up, he's not going to get double-digit touchdowns. So it's just whatever you're looking for at that point in the draft. If you've got a steady running back 1,
yeah, I mean he's involved in the pass game. He had 47 receptions last year. I like him. So I mean you don't have to love him. That's my guy, man.
I think he's talented, but like I said, regression's coming. So. And he doesn't have to be running back 2, but he does need to be better than RB12 to get.
Yeah, and he'll be better than RB12. I mean, he was 90 points better than RB12.
Take 10 touchdowns away. There's 70 of those points right there.
60.
Yeah, 60. So 60 points gone off the top for touchdown regression. That's slippery slope.
Yeah, well, I'll take my chances on that slippery slope. Where are you going in the NFC North, Josh?
Allen Robinson.
Oh man,
yeah.
I love. Yeah,
he was wide receiver 10 last year. Didn't really. It's funny, I'm thinking about it. We're taking a lot of Gunners guys from his fantasy team last year. But he had Aaron Jones and he had Allen Robinson. But anyways,
had a killer team.
Yeah, so he should get better at quarterback play one way or another.
I mean, you were just saying how Chark is going to be better now that he doesn't have Nick Foles to throw the ball, and Nick Foles could be throwing your guy the ball.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you let me finish and quit interrupting, he should get better quarterback play one way or another based on the fact that he didn't have Mitchell. He's got Mitchell Trubisky, and he should be pushed for better play just by competition. Or if Foles becomes a quarterback, just because he's not better than Minshew doesn't mean that he's better than Trubisky, which it doesn't take much to be. So 2018, he spent a lot of time recovering from that ACL tear, and so he didn't have quite the snap share. But last year he played on 94% of snaps, and so 90. That's an alpha. That's an alpha wide receiver, and if he gets that 94% snap share, gets those targets, he's going to be a value. So
for NFC South, Brandon, who's your pick?
I've got Michael Thomas, unquestioned wide receiver 1, maybe the safest player in the entire league. He had 17% more targets than the second leading target getter. And that's a huge gap in targets. He had 2 different quarterbacks throwing him the ball, so it wasn't quarterback dependent. When you have a catch percentage is 80% or over 80%, you're getting that many targets. You're super safe. I think he's worth a top 5 pick overall, and I think you would get incredible value, and it might be safer than than any other player in the league, to be honest, that you could draft there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna besmirch Michael Thomas. The only thing I will say is I'll be curious to see how he does with a true number 2 wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, coming in, because he'll take some targets away. But Michael Thomas is still going to be great because he catches 96% of his passes or something. But so I'm not a whole lot to say. Pretty easy pick.
Yeah, man, it's an easy player for me to pick. So who do you have in the NFC South, Josh?
I took Todd Gurley. Devontae Freeman, he played in 14 games last year. It didn't really feel like it to us because he stunk it up pretty bad. But he still caught 59 balls on 70 targets, and I didn't realize that until I started doing the research. So Todd Gurley only had 31 receptions last year with the Rams,
which is travesty. That's ridiculous.
It is. After he averaged 61.5 over the 2 seasons prior. So and that's catches, not targets. So if he can get up into the 50s again in receptions, he's gonna. He's gonna be good.
I love that, and obviously, it's dependent on his health. But I think that Falcons can use him in a better way. Can you use him more, just effectively and safely? So I like it. And the Falcons whoever's playing running back for the Falcons has proven to be similar, maybe not as high, but similar to the Chiefs. It's an explosive position, and so now you match it with someone who's super talented.
So I don't think I'm going to end up ranking him here, but I just want to. I want to tell you, the amount of excitement that I have for Todd Gurley in his new situation. I'm not going to be surprised if he finishes as top 5 back, and I know that's a hot take, but
with the caveat that if he plays the entire season, I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't bet against you if you just factor in him playing the entire season. I wouldn't bet against you.
Well, he played the whole season last year, and he had the carries. He had almost the exact same amount of carries. They just didn't throw him the ball. So if he can get the ball thrown to him, it's going to be what pushes him back up into that upper echelon.
What was that, Gunner?
I had him too, right?
Todd Gurley?
No. I had Todd Gurley, and then I traded him in a package deal for Leonard Fournette, and then I traded you Leonard Fournette in a package deal to get Julio Jones. So
I thought okay.
Whatever. Wheeling and dealing.
Was it on our league, Brandon, that I had? I don't know. I felt like I had him somewhere last year, but whatever. NFC East. Brandon, who's your guy?
I've got Michael Gallup. I'm pretty sure I had Michael Gallup on all of my fantasy teams last year. He was my most popular share. He finished as wide receiver 30, missed a few games, but he averaged over 16 yards per catch, which was 4th in the league in terms of catch average. So he's good. He's getting good play there. But what we know about Dallas is that we have 114 targets that are being opened up by the departure of Randall Cobb and Jason Witten. All of those targets aren't going to go to Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper had 110 targets last year, so his target count.
He'll probably get about 40 of them.
And I'd be surprised if he gets up to 150 targets. That's elite level, and he's not.
You don't think Amari Cooper's elite?
He is elite, man. But I'm talking about, you had 2 players in the league that got 150 targets last year. That's it. So that would be a wild number. But to get to 130, 140, he's going to get some of those targets. My point is that he's not going to get all of those 114 vacated targets, and they're not all going to go to Blake Jarwin at tight end, which I think is going to get a lot of. Who I think is going to get a lot of them. But I think Gallup is going to go up in his target count, which is going to is only going to help his numbers improve.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't just take Blake Jarwin.
Hey, actually, I take that back. It wasn't 114 is how many Amari had last year. 166 is the amount of vacated targets. So that's even like an even bigger share.
Yeah.
Of it.
So Amari Cooper could easily get 30 or 40 of those just because there's so many.
Sure.
I was surprised when you said 114 or whatever it was between the two of them, because I know you said that Jason Witten had 63. So I was kind of surprised.
Yeah. But I imagine I will have more shares of Gallup. I have to pay up a little bit more. Last year I didn't have to pay as much, but this year
he was pretty cheap.
I'll be willing to pay up on him a lot of times.
Josh, who's your pick?
So you shouldn't have to pay up for mine. Darius Geis, he struggled with injuries. So obviously this is going to rely on health a lot, and we don't want to weigh too much on health because we can't predict it until you get to a guy like Darius Geis where it's been predictive, like he's been hurt. So the price should be good on him. And, so if it can, he's shown in bursts that he can be the guy. He can be super talented. And we saw it at LSU, where he was really good. So
I don't know where his ADP is, but I mean, he's in that lottery ticket category. I mean, that's
he's currently going in the back half of the 6th round. So
man, golly, that's a little more early than I would take him. I like if he stays healthy,
he's a league winner to get him in the 6th round.
If he stays on the field, I'm pulling for him. Yeah. But I mean, it's you could not get anything out of your 6th round pick.
So the 6th, and I did that last year.
You say
so, but I was in the championship. So around the 5th, 6th round, that's where you can start taking swings because you get the potential to get guys that are league winners if you're willing to roll the dice a little bit. And if it doesn't hit, then you just have to work a little harder in season, and that's where all the fun is anyway. So
I like him I like his upside. I'm a little concerned about his health, but
absolutely. If you're not concerned about his health, you don't know who Darius Geis is.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay, let's move on. NFC West. We're going to wrap it up. Brandon, who's your guy?
In the NFC West, I wanted to pick someone on the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm going to go with my guy up in San Franciscoville, Deebo Samuel. Similar to A.J. Brown, so this is another sophomore that I've gotten that I'm choosing. Similar to A.J., he got better as the season progressed and got a little bit more involved. He was in the top 36 wide receivers in his rookie campaign, and that's factoring the entire season in. But he plays the offense is run heavy, and so if you watch San Francisco play at all, you saw wide receivers and tight ends running wide open all the time, similar to Baltimore, because they were so sold out to stop the run. He just was constantly running wide open. So get creative and kind of a unique offense that they run, that he had lots of opportunities to catch the ball and run after the catch, and like.
He's dangerous with the ball in his hands too, so he does a lot with it.
He's kind of becoming he and Kittle are the pass catchers in San Francisco. So I love that. He also had like 12 touches or 12 rushes and averaged over 10 yards a rush. So I mean,
and I think that's going up too, honestly.
Right, you factor that in. They get creative in the way that they run their offense. So those could come in handy. So I like Deebo. I like his upside. And I think you get good value if you pay up for him.
I don't know if you saw I don't really have a rebuttal. I like him. So I just want to real quick. I don't know if you saw during the interview when they talked about drafting him, and Dante Pettis was sitting at the table, and they said something about it, and Shanahan said he looked right at Dante Pettis and he said, "Well, we wanted a man."
I haven't seen that.
It's hilarious. Like, and he's sitting there with his tie-dye hair, or whatever it is. Dante Pettis has got all the extra going on. So
well, they got one. They got a man.
yeah, they got one. He's a dog. He's an alpha. So, for me in the NFC West, I took Robert Woods. There's going to be a lot of people are going to have a bad taste in their mouth from Robert Woods, even though he didn't have a bad season. He only scored 2 touchdowns. But he only scored 2 touchdowns on 139 targets.
That's got to go up.
Yeah, it's going up. I mean, regression to the mean, it's going to happen. When I originally was, picking my player, I was going to go with Cooper Kupp because I thought he's the safety blanket. He's the guy that Jared Goff really loves. And then when I dug into it, I was like, actually, that's Robert Woods. Robert Woods is the guy he loves because Robert Woods was the target leader on the team. And So he's going to go up, and he also, similar to your guy, he received 17 and 19 carries the last 2 seasons, so he gets that little bump as well. So
Yeah.
with only 2
like
touchdowns, he finished as wide receiver 20 as well, so that's not bad.
That's why. And actually, only one of them was in the air. I just was looking. One of them was a rushing touchdown.
Yes,
So he actually
yes.
only had one reception for a touchdown.
And that rushing
swap.
touchdown was against San Francisco, I believe.
Oh, fun fact.
The only touchdown they scored in that game. It was miserable.
Well, and that's also with the departure of Cooks. So I think it'll help the offense.
Yeah, and I'd actually put this together before that move happened. So kind of stepped on it a little bit because his ADP will go up. But
yeah.
Well, you can check out the article about this for a more in-depth review and coverage about the picks. You find that on the website, nonneutralzone.com, and let us know what you think about these division picks. All right? And let's move on. Let's go to Fantasyland.
Fantasyland.
We are here. We are here in Fantasyland. Okay. You guys ready?
oh yeah,
You guys excited?
Ready. Oh, yeah.
so
Is
excited.
this your favorite part of the show, or what's your favorite part? Is it Fantasyland or is it lightning round?
My favorite's lightning round.
My favorite's the end. I'm just kidding.
My favorite's Gunner's halftime when we do it.
Yeah, we skipped it this week, but that's okay. All right, so let's move into Fantasyland. Who is the one player that you think you'll have the most shares of, and why? We'll start off with Josh.
For me, it's DJ Moore. Assuming he stays where he is in seasonal rankings, I think he's going to be a value, man. He's got a quarterback now that likes to keep the ball around the line of scrimmage, and DJ Moore, he's kind of that after the catch guy, and he can catch a deep ball, but he's not going with Teddy Bridgewater. So he's going to get peppered with targets. We saw it last year with Kyle Allen. We'll see it this year with Bridgewater. So that's my pick is DJ Moore.
Right on, Brandon.
My pick is Christian Kirk, and I would say that the reason for that is because I want shares of this offense, and he is the one that I think that I'll be able to afford. I don't think that I'll be willing to pay for DeAndre Hopkins, and I don't think that I'll be able to pay for Kenyon Drake. So I think Christian Kirk, he's a guy I had a lot on my team both this year and last year as a rookie. I'm just high on him and maybe higher than I should. But I like to roll with him, and I love how that offense is growing, and they could be this year's Baltimore Ravens in terms of just their development overall as an offense, and with Kyler Murray kind of taking that leap like Lamar Jackson. And I would say an honorable mention goes to, one of these rookies, wide receivers is going to fall into a position that we really love and feel good about. And a lot of times guys like that tend to fall onto our team in all of the leagues because they are a little bit less expensive and we can draft the same lottery ticket all the way around. So I don't know which one that is though. So for a guy that's currently in the league, I would pick Christian Kirk.
Cool.
You know that Deebo Samuel is actually going ahead of DJ Moore right now?
I saw that Debo's like number 17 or wide receiver 17 right now.
He's going at 405 and DJ Moore's going at 407. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that people had jumped the shark that much on Deebo Samuel.
But it's a little bit more known situation. So you might be able to get a deal on DJ Moore because of the unknown.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I think that it could turn out to be really good. I'm surprised that Debo's going as high as he is, to be honest, because that offense is not what I can't imagine that you want a lot of pieces of it because it's so grinding.
Oh yeah.
All right, next question. What is the earliest you will consider drafting a quarterback in 2020? We'll start with Brandon on this one.
I would say round 8 for me, but it's with the caveat that it's only if one of my top 3, my 3 previously decided guys are there. So if I don't get them in that round, if they're not there in that round, then it's going to be round 14, 15, 16. Whenever I take.
Do you have 3 in mind yet, or are you still?
Yes, but I'm not telling you.
I mean, eventually you're going to have to tell me.
Eventually, I will tell you.
The nature of what we do, and it will be before our fantasy football draft. So
yeah,
there will be some stuff that will be kept confidential, Mister Mr.
I will
Hill.
not do that to the listener, just so everybody out there knows.
We're an open book here.
I'm going to help you win leagues, and I'll beat Brandon with all my information shown to him. So
Okay. All right. Fine. Well, all right then. Then I will do the same. Yes,
All
I will
right.
tell you.
who
but
are
not
your
right
three
now.
quarterbacks?
Well, I'm not telling you right now because
Oh my
I don't.
goodness. Okay,
like,
I'm going to say that the
so-
10th round is as early as I will look at quarterbacks, and that's assuming that people are not going to go hog wild on QBs early. Last year in our league of record, it was, we had like 2 quarterbacks go off the board in the first 2 or 4 rounds, and then after that it was nothing until round 10. And so you kind of get your pick there. If it doesn't go that way, then if people just pick them up, I'll just wait even longer. Maybe the last pick of the draft. I did that a few years ago, and it worked out pretty well with Carson Wentz. So, yeah.
Yeah. To answer your question, Josh, I couldn't tell you who my 3 are right now, but that's the way that it will work, is if my guys are there.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked you if you had 3 in mind right now, and you said yes.
Yeah.
So
yes, Mahomes, Jackson, and Watson.
Okay, they won't be.
Watson might be there at this point, but
yeah, that's true.
His stock's dropping so far.
Just an aside, what's your favorite position to draft?
Oh, I did not think that's how that sentence was ending. I will.
We could do that in the next short show.
For me, it's running back. I like
Okay.
to draft running backs early, but
Yeah, I like to load up on running backs. Yeah, I think there's a lot less running backs that you find out about later than there are receivers.
Yeah, I was just curious if you guys had like something you always get excited about drafting, like, can't wait to.
Yeah,
Okay.
sleeper wide receivers. If we're talking excitement, late round wide receivers. That's probably where my excitement is, because I'm thinking if I load up on running backs early and then I hit that lottery ticket late in the draft, I'll see
there
the
and pick
ship.
them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to lightning round. You guys ready? Remember the rules?
Oh yeah.
Simple yes or no answers, or one word answers, or no debate. Just straight up. Okay.
This is a special edition of the lightning round, right?
Sure. Yeah, whatever. It is a special edition. This is a Houston Texans meltdown edition. You guys ready
All
for
right.
this?
Oh yeah.
I should have mentioned that. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is Brandin Cooks going to finish as a top 24 wide receiver with the Texans in 2020? You guys
Yes.
shout it out.
Yes.
All right, so it's a yes from both of them. Of the new receivers, do you prefer Cooks or Randall Cobb in the offense?
Cooks.
In that offense.
I'll take Randall Cobb.
All right. So we got some
Assuming
opposition.
a cheaper draft cost. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So
So
Brandon
that's-
took Cooks.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. Great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the Deshaun Watson's fantasy outlook?
8.
12. I'm hitting the panic mode. The button.
Okay.
I'm hitting it.
Is David Johnson going to get into the top 24 running backs?
This might be the toughest one.
It's close.
I'm going to say no.
I wanted to say no, but since you said no, I'll say yes.
All right, fair enough. Pick one Texan that you will be comfortable having on your fantasy squad considering projected draft costs.
Darren Fells.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Assuming he's not too expensive, Will Fuller.
yeah, I mean, Will Fuller's on the field, man.
Yeah,
That guy's
he's
going to score some
dangerous.
points.
Yeah.
All right. So do you guys have any thunder you want to go throw in there, or is it all kind of on the level? As the
To me,
Texans-
this edition of the lightning round is just it's good to point and laugh. Brandon's a Titans fan. I'm a Colts fan, so we can mutually put our arms around each other, point and laugh at Bill O'Brien.
Right on.
Oh, man, they're terrible. Yeah, terrible. Did
Has
you
there
guys
been
see
a
that
fall
lightning
or-
just
Has there been a faster fall from the
Man, they
playoff,
were-
like a playoff contender? Or
right, because they were
They were in
23
the playoffs last year, right?
They were 21 points ahead of the Chiefs.
That's right. Yeah.
They are 24. 20, It was 24-0.
It's been a meltdown ever since that meltdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't have any thunder. I mean, there's so much stuff about the Texans. I'm like,
Exactly. Well, and
I could see myself drafting
we spent
Randall
so
Cobb.
much time on the, our divisional picks. Like, it was good just to have a little loose lightning around where we're not going to get into it and have a lot of thunder. So,
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that wraps it up. We want to thank you very much for joining us on this edition of the Non-Neutral Zone. We want to remind you to join us tomorrow. Subscribe so you get a notification about the Short Show Spectacular. We've been doing topical drafts. Tomorrow's episode is our top 4 family table games. So you can listen, you can hear our picks, and you can vote for us on Twitter for whoever has your favorite or the best pick of family table games. And these give you some ideas of what to play during the quarantine while you're all stuck at home, sitting around, just hanging out. If you're not already ready to kill each other. So yeah, listen to that and subscribe. You can check us out on Twitter regardless. We do want some mailbag questions. So if you have any questions you want to send to us, send them on Twitter, or you can email us at nonneutralzone@gmail.com. And we have some great content on the site. Like we mentioned, the article earlier about the top players in each division. That's on nonneutralzone.com, and you can find lots of other things. Guys, have anything you want to mention?
Thanks for listening.
No, I think you covered it. We appreciate you guys so much, and we hope you enjoyed our content.
Stay safe out there. Enjoy your Trump checks this week.
Yeah, and you go back to listen to our short show about the Trump checks to find out the best way to spend that Trump check. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Bye.
Hey.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen, and don't fall into the neutral zone.